Alright, you just got another one come in. 2016 Camry. I'm not going to be doing this right here, which I don't know if you can even see that. It looks like he ran into a trailer hitch. And I think this piece here is separate, so I may be able to save the bumper, but I'm not going to do that right now. What I'm going to be fixing on this one is this dent in the quarter right here. The customer actually brought it by the other day, and I just got all the paint transfer off and buffed it and put a little touch-up paint right in here on the bumper where the paint had chipped off. You can see the black through it. This is what I'm going to be doing. This up here they haven't filed a claim yet on, so I'm just going to assume that I'll be doing it later, and I'll look at it and have an estimate ready to go just in case they decide they want to do it. Actually, a little damage on the corner of that bumper right there. And that looks a little bit damaged. May just have to get a bumper. That'd be the easiest thing. Just replace it all. Since it's probably going to be an insurance job. We'll have to see what their payment turns out to be. But kind of in a hurry on this one. They need it back probably within about a week and a half. So I'm just going to take all the trim off that I can. I may leave this piece. If I can get that rubber up right there with some trim masking tape, I'll just leave this on. I don't want to break this and have to buy it. There's nothing wrong with it, so I don't want to destroy it taking it off when I can just pull this rubber back and sand behind it. What I'll have to do is at least drop the bumper down, back and down, so I can sand that edge. And I may remount it and just tape it off. We'll have to see. Got to get the tail light out. Spoiler doesn't overlap the quarter, so I can leave it on. No big deal. I'll have to drop the seals on the doors just so there's no seal in contact here. And I'll probably end up pulling this trim here off so that I can paint all the way underneath it so I don't have any kind of an edge showing back in here. Just have to decide when I get there. Really, that's the only thing you got to take out is the tail light, but I'm going to have to paint all the way down to this seam here, and I'm probably going to leave this decal here because that thing there is it's not really all that expensive, but I'm not going to put color really down in here, so I can just scuff around this edge with a fiberglass pen and sand it just like I'd be doing a clear blend or a color blend over into here, and just clear all the way down to this edge. So the first thing I got to do is get it all washed so it's nice and clean, and then I'll let it sit here tonight and dry. Then I can pull the tail light out and drop the bumper and all that, so I don't have to worry about getting water in the car back through the light. I'm going to get it clean, and then the next thing will be to pull the trunk liner back, get the tail light out of the way, and then I can reach through the back. I'm going to try to hammer and dolly all that out and not have to put any studs in it. And so I think there's access. I reached back there when they brought it by for me to just clean it up. I think I was trying to push the dent out, if I remember right, and I had my hand back there, so I think I can get a hammer on it, and I'll work it all the way back out most of the way without having to weld to it at all. Okay, I've got the tail light out and the bumper dropped down. I'm going to go ahead and grind the finish off this area that I'm going to repair. I can't get the hammer in there to knock it out. I can't get far enough down to keep it from popping back in, so we'll go ahead and strip the finish off the dent. Then I'll put a few studs in it just to work it all the way out. Then I can probably work the rest of the way with hammer and dolly from the inside. That's good for now. I may have to grind a little more, but I can probably get the rest of it out with 80 grit on the DA. We'll go ahead and get some studs. All right, I'm going to stick a couple of studs in, work my way into the center from the outside. Not holding it down very long. I don't want to burn any of the seam sealer or panel bond that's behind there, cause a fire or anything. We got the trunk liner pulled away to let it vent. Just going to start on this bottom edge and start pulling it out, and then I'll come up here to the top, start pulling out, and that should get it to stay out. See if I can use this stud buddy here. This doesn't have to come out very much. That's probably good there. May end up having to tap that one spot down where it is. I'm going to leave that a little bit low, and I'll come back to it and put a few up here. Right where it drops into the dent, we'll start with one. That actually pushed it in a little bit more from where I had it pulled out. Metal's really thin. Fill this in with studs, and I'll work my way down doing the same thing. I'll be back when I got it all pulled out. Get ready to start finessing it. Alright, it's most of the way out. It's probably about 90% there. I'm going to go ahead and cut the studs off, and then I'll work the rest of it with the hammer and dolly, and if I need to put any more studs, which I think I might towards the bottom, I'll go ahead and do that in a second. Alright, I got it as close as I can get it. It's in a weird spot right here with this body line running through it, so and go ahead and just grind this a little bit smoother, get the real coarse scratches out like this, and we'll slow the grinder down to kind of make it a little bit finer. And then I'll come around here with 80 grit on the DA, just clean all the paint off, and we'll get a coat of filler on it so it can't start rusting. Then I'll just have to let it sit till I can block the Bondo out. Alright, I got it ready for some filler. I'm going to put some fiberglass reinforced on it first. Be right back with that. Alright, wasn't able to show the first application of fiberglass or this one, but I've got 2 layers of body filler here I blocked out between each one. This hopefully will be the last one. I'm going to block sand this out again and then come back and block this last. That'll give me that ridge I need. As long as I get the body line flowing here through that area like I need to, I'll just leave it. I may have to put one more application. But essentially it's done. After I get the body filler finished, I'll get some epoxy and spray over the body filler and the bare steel, and I'll go with the 2K primer after that. Third layer, just a thin layer to finish it off with. I've come back with 80 and I've gotten this pretty close. I just need to go around the edges and feather it in here, but I've got the bulk of it straight. What I normally do is I block all this flat and get the contour in the quarter when I do an area like this, and I come back and I take this area right here down last. What I'll do is I'll take the block all this out, up to an edge here. I kind of shaped it with the Bondo. I smeared it over the area when I applied it, and then I came back and just put a flat section in the body filler to give me sort of a corner there in it to work off of. So after this is done, I'll come back and I'll just block this flat, and that'll just give me a nice arc in it. And I can soften that arc as I need to, but I need to get it sharp to begin with to match what starts here and comes all the way through.
and I can soften it with some 180. Now that I've gotten this close, I'll go back to 180 to finish it off. I got to do a little more 80 in here to get it flat. Then I'll put 180 everywhere, and then I'll feather out all the way into here with 400 for the primer. Be back with the primer. All right, I've got it about half bagged for the primer. Just want to keep any overspray off this car. It's only about a year old, and be doing one over here right next to it, so cover up best I can here. That was my last application of filler, so I went ahead and mixed up the epoxy about, I don't know, 30-45 minutes ago, just so if, in case this was my last layer and it worked out, which it did, then the epoxy would be set up. It has to sit for 30 minutes at least. I need to come do a wipe down. I'm not going to wipe directly over the filler with wax and grease remover because it'll soak in there, but I'm going to wipe everywhere else, just right around it, and then I'll tack the whole area. And I'm going to put epoxy just over this bodywork, and I'll put a urethane primer over pretty much this whole area. I've got this folded back as a soft edge on this body line. There's a high peak line here that runs through the body, so I'm just going to break it right there. And I'll put one coat over the whole area, and then I'll step a couple inches in each time, so I'll just have 3 coats over the bodywork. I'll be right back when I get the epoxy ready to go. Alright, I'm ready for epoxy. Tripod is out of commission. It couldn't take the heat, so I'm going to spray the epoxy on here and just hold the camera here by hand and let you watch me spray it, and we'll move on to the next car. Okay, here's the Camry after 3 coats of primer. You can see a faint body line running through there. That's what I needed to recreate. The damage was a little further this way than I first thought. After I got the bodywork straight in here, I started to rub over this, and I couldn't feel any kind of a ridge. Went over to the other side, and it's pretty prominent over the entire arch there. So I ran the bodywork out about another 2 or 3 inches further. This had actually come out in the middle right in here. I had a little bit of a ridge running through here. That's where the inner fender well mounts, or this mounts to that on the inside. I guess it had folded over that and pushed a little ridge in it right in the center. So I ran the bodywork out a little further. I need to put on the guide coat, and then I'll strip everything off after I get the guide coat on. I don't want to get the guide coat anywhere. Then I'll start blocking this out.